All right, everyone. I want you guys to consider what really happens over the summer. When typically the coin market kind of slows down. At least in theory, that's what it used to do. Probably as recently as about 3 or 4 years ago. We get into this period of about 2 to 3 months where we really see less actual sales on the open market for especially for a lot of the more desired, better date, better grade type pieces that exist out there. Things that haven't necessarily been just the typical kind of cycle of how the whole coin market works. We were living through a pandemic, something that had reshaped the overall landscape of the numismatic hobby, among a few other different collectibles. We all saw that. But typically, most folks, most dealers, most big time uh, collectors and those type of folks that actually that carve out a good chunk of time throughout the year, primarily October to about right now, okay, which we're in the middle of May. I always have used Memorial Day as kind of that marker, where once we pass over it, things really begin to kind of die down quite a bit. So just because the market slows down doesn't actually mean that numismatics is dead for a 2 3 month period. I could tell you exactly what's happening, but also throw a little caution because there was actually an instance last year from one of my viewers, and I'll tell you this here in a second before we get into that. But the preparation work for getting ready for what is normally a busy fall season entails taking the inventory that dealers and collectors have bought. Okay, a lot of people, personal collectors that like to do the show circuit. We had a very successful Central States show where a lot of people bought coins. Okay, and there are a lot of people that invested money in raw coins as well. So they'll take the summer months, not necessarily stay out of it in terms of the hobby altogether, where they're just like they're distancing themselves from it, but they manage to subsidize what they do in the hobby. In the case of the months of June to about September, folks send out bulk submissions and coins to the third party graders, PCGS, NGC, the people that are looking at it from more of a business perspective than it is actually enhancing their collection. That's what a lot of folks are doing. A lot of dealers are doing this. And the general turnaround time can be anywhere from 45 days to as much as 90 days. Depends on the service you use. Do you want it low and slow, or do you want it back fast so you can turn it fast? There's kind of like a wide range of different options, but usually a lot of folks in the industry and the hobby prefer that longer duration because they figure by the time September, October rolls around, that's when they're going to receive their submissions, and then they're going to be ready to tackle, a very healthy, very busy fall show schedule. But there are folks that really want to do it, or they have personal collection pieces that's been passed over to them that don't quite really apply to the premise of the regular world of numismatics. And in the case of a person that used to watch my show, she hadn't watched it since about last fall. I think she got really sour, but she goes by the initials JM. So we'll just use JM as her name, just to keep things private. It had a couple pieces that was passed down to her that she wanted to get graded, but the problem was she didn't want to make the obligation of paying for a membership which costs a lot of extra money. And certain, if you're going through PCGS, at the very minimum, it's $100. All right, and she really did not want to involve herself into the process that way. So we talked about it, and at the time, last year I wasn't really submitting anything, so I would have done it, but I didn't have anything to send. So I told her, I'm like, well, you have a couple different course of actions. I think the one that might interest her the most would be to find a dealer that can do a group submission for you, or just submit something for you. But I also told her you have to be mindful that these things have to occur in order for there to be complete trust in a dealer. Most dealers are really good. Okay, most dealers I do personally trust. A few of those things that I told her that she needed to kind of button down and make sure that is going to happen are going to be paying for registered mail. Okay, normally that would come out of the person who wants to submit its pocket. Like for me, if I went to a coin dealer and I wanted to submit something, normally the coin dealer would tell me, okay, well, you got to pay $25 for registered mail. No, it's probably different now. Price, the post office has an upcoming price hike, and I'm not really looking forward to it. But making sure that there's some sort of coverage involved is important. But also, even more important, if not equally important, is if you have some sort of paper trail or electronic trail, something that puts the whole transaction in writing. Because in the event that, say, either the coin dealer or the person you're dealing with does not, it ends up sending the coins off and then they get lost in the mail. Now, if you send it registered mail, that's usually something that's not going to happen because that's stored under lock and key from the origin station all the way to its destination. But in those offhanded chances that it disappears somewhere along the line, you want to make sure that you are covered, number one, and number two, that the dealer in some way assumes some responsibility. There were a few instances in the past where folks had submitted coins through a coin dealer because, again, they were trying to circumvent paying the membership fee, which can be quite pricey, especially if you're just doing a one-time shot submission. So JM ended up finding not a dealer, but someone that works closely with a dealer. I think she had said that he was either a buyer for that coin shop, or he was someone that just frequented that dealer quite a bit, and they were like really close friends. So I think the dealer ended up referring her to a buddy of his to do all the work, maybe because the dealer doesn't do that much coin grading, things like that. So she ended up partnering up with this individual, and he agreed to do the submission. And again, she I told her to do all these things that needed to happen. She actually paid up front for registered mail. The gentleman even ended up printing out a copy of the PCGS submission form. Here you go. Go ahead and fill out these areas right here on the form, so that way it's ready to go, preset. And then what he was going to do, because he was going to submit coins as well, is that they were just going to gang up the submissions and do one total submission. Normally when you go out to a dealer or some other traveling dealer or a collector who's willing to kind of front a little bit of the work to get your submission rolling, they'll actually charge a little bit extra money to submit your coins, so that way it's fair and equitable for everyone. So if it costs $25 to submit one coin, he or she will probably end up charging $30 to $35. And then you got to pay for the registered mail and all that great stuff. So for the submitter, they have to make money. That's fine. I'm not disputing that. But what ended up happening was that she ended up just doing the submission form, handing it off to him along with the coins. But there was no other type of paper trail involved. There was no email exchanges. There were no text messages. She was pretty much just mortgaging everything on this individual to send out, which came out to about $7,500 from like 3 coins. I'd have to say there was two very key day. I think it was a 1889 Carson City Morgan. There was a St. Gaudens common date $20 gold, and there was one other coin that just escaped my mind. But she ended up entrusting him, okay, with her stuff, okay, and after a point of time had rolled around, she never heard from him. Never got any correspondence on any sort of shipment to PCGS for this submission, and she ended up reaching back out to me, and this was like 45 days later, and she was like, she was beside herself. She was a little bit in tears. And that's all stuff that I gathered from the email, because she said she was like very upset. I can't reach this guy, and I told her, okay, relax. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go back to a coin dealer and see if you could get information. So she ended up going back to the coin dealer that had referred her to his buddy, and as it turns out, he hasn't heard from him either. And he gave him a few coins to submit. Hadn't heard from him. As a matter of fact, he turned into a ghost, and that was it. So we could all kind of piece the balance of the story. He was gone. Apparently, he gave her a fake name, and ended up stealing $7,000 to $8,000 in coins, and she never heard from him again. And the coin dealer never heard from him. Digging a little bit deeper, she went back to the coin shop and pretty much gave the guy a third degree. I'm like, okay, you guys are best buddies, so what gives? And then some expletives mixed in there. You guys can kind of like imagine this. And he was very apologetic. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I met him at one of our previous coin shows. I think this was somewhere in Florida, somewhere around there. And as it turns out, he only knew him for about 4 months. But he always went into the shop, was buying inventory, buying silver. He was selling precious metals back to him and things like that. And, he seemed like a trustworthy guy, right? That's kind of like the words that they use. It's like, yeah, I'm a trustworthy guy. I'm married with 3.2 kids. So, you always hear these things, but what could have turned out a little bit more differently is kind of hard to say. Even if you did get all this stuff on paper, tracking down the guy to get all this stuff back can be a little bit different if they're using an alias. So the moral of the story is real simple. Okay, deal directly with a coin shop. Okay, I would say you're going to come across, and even today you see this all the time, especially on social media, Facebook. There's a lot of groups. There's a lot of people that say, hey, I got a coin grading submission that I'm going to be sending out. Anybody interested in joining up in a group submission? Under no circumstances should you ever entertain doing that, especially if you could trust them about as much as you could spit, okay, as far as you could spit, or that whole expression. But I've seen a lot of good people get crapped on from just regular random people. We've seen it to a larger degree in the sports card world. There's a few influencers and people that have taken in millions of dollars in submissions, had sent them off to PSA, never to never these people never got their submissions back. The submission ended up at PSA, who, believe it or not, is part of Collectors Universe, which is part of PCGS. So PSA never obtained the $3 million or whatever it was for all of these cards from this social media influencer, and the guy ended up filing for bankruptcy, and all of these sports cards ended up in the court system. And it was just, I think, about a week or two ago where the courts actually released the cards back to their owners. But PSA was out $3 million. And again, I'm an influencer, but I'm not interested in grading anybody's coins. Okay, as trustworthy as I think I am, I know I'm trustworthy. It's just way too risky to have and hold someone else's assets, and that's primarily why. You guys probably know this. A lot of people offer to send me collections to look at, and I have to decline. I'm like, I can't do that. If something happened, this thing gets lost in the mail because of poor packing or poor handling by a postal service employee, it's all gone. And guess who is going to be crapped on throughout this? It's probably going to be me, because I'm the one that said yes, I can do it, when in reality I can't. Right? Because these type of collectibles and things of extraordinary value should go directly to the source. If you're going to go and get things graded, there's only two ways that you need to send these off to the graders. You either send it yourself because you trust yourself in doing that process, or you take it to a coin shop. All right? Open up your internet. I was going to say open up your phone book. Nobody uses a phone book anymore, but open up the internet and find trustworthy dealers that have actual websites, that have an actual established community base, and use them. Don't use Joe Schmo's second cousins, uncles, brothers, sisters, girlfriends, mothers, pet iguana to submit your coins through. It's not going to turn out very good. You need to keep this inner circle close to the people that you do trust. Someone with a business has a lot more to lose, okay, but it doesn't 100% absolve a coin dealer, large or small, if they were caught, red-handed doing something very shady, stealing money from people, stealing collections from people, taking their money and running. All right. Sometimes it's always best that if you deal with it yourself, sending off your own submission, that's where it's going to be a lot more successful, and it's going to be a lot more safer in the long run. But that's what I wanted to talk about. Sorry, I was all kind of like scattered all over the place. The reason why that this had come up a year later is because this had happened a year later. And I was actually going through emails, and I had found her correspondence, and I thought about sending her a message. I'm like, hey, have you heard anything about this yet? But she last little thing that she had said is, I screwed up. I ended up not going with a coin dealer. I ended up going with someone that a coin dealer had trusted with coins, and now it's gone forever. Yeah, it's seriously a bad situation. But that's what I wanted to talk about. All right, for today, and I hope you guys got a little takeaway from this. Listen, coin grading is all fun and games until you don't get the best result from it. Whether it's the coins being lost, someone stealing them, or if you don't get the grades that you want. All right, coin grading can be a blessing. It could be a curse. Now, there are certain things that you could do, ladies and gentlemen, to kind of swing the tide a little bit so that it's a much more enjoyable experience, like not hinging too much on registry set coins and just really focusing on the grassroots stuff, the nice early type coins that people see a lot of value in. And, that's where you need to get started. All right. You always have to crawl before you walk. Don't think you can do it by yourself. Then, enlist a trusted dealer. Open up an issue of Coin World magazine. You're going to find a few dealers that's ready, willing, and able to do a coin submission for you. Okay. If you're looking to sell, there's a bunch of coin auctions that can do that for you as well. Great collections can submit coins on your behalf to the graders. All right. And, they could sell it too. So that's it. But yeah, I wanted to bring that to your attention. It's never too late to talk about it, considering summer's around the corner, and some of you are going to try and fill in the little bit of time for vacationing, but at the same time, you want to be geared up and ready to go for a busy show, season come October once that rolls around. So recognizing grading and who to trust certainly is important in this matter. That's going to go ahead and do it, guys. Thank you for all of your views and support. And I hope to see you guys real soon on the next video. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell. Ding, ding, for instant notifications. Is that still a thing in 2022? I don't know. Things are evolving. And the market's crashing. So, boo-goo. See you guys. Have a good one.